Hello, my name is Juan Lopez and I'm a junior at ABAC. I am taking a course in education psychology, and our main project for this semester requires to interview local teachers and relay their responses to the theory, research, and principles we are learning in this course. I'm here today with Miss Elizabeth Wright, and we're gonna ask her some questions.
Okay.
Okay, so how are you today, Miss
I
Elizabeth?
am good. It's the end of the day. I'm tired.
Okay, so let's begin with this questionnaire. So first question, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background, career, and the content you teach.
Okay. I am a second year ESOL teacher. My background is diverse. I have been a social worker, a safety director, a insurance sales rep, and an HR director. So this is the last, I hope, of my career changes. And ESOL is based on helping non-native English speakers to learn English and adapt to the community.
Oh, okay. That's good. I was actually one of the ESOL students back in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
2016 through 2019.
Oh, you just missed me.
Yeah, I was just during high school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you prefer direct instructions, guided instructions, or contribution approach in teaching?
I actually like the contribution of the students back to me. In ESOL, I have to do some reading to them and explaining just because of the language barrier. But I also like the contribution from the students so that they can help me design what's going to help them the best. It also clarifies if they don't understand.
Yeah, because I understand that if English is not their first language, it can be stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It can be everything. I mean, you got feelings like being isolated when you're this is not your country or this is not your first language.
Mm-hmm.
You get too stressed out.
Yeah. So I speak no Spanish. I speak only English. That's all I speak, and I don't speak that well. But so if I have a huge class of mainly Spanish speakers, they're just going to it, talking to each other, blah blah blah. And I feel it's the reverse in here. I know how they feel when they go into an English classroom, because I'm just sitting here and I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, it can be hard sometimes.
Yes.
So, how important to you, if at all, is developing critical thinking skills and or creating creativity in your students?
Okay. So the pre-thinking skills is very important because I need to know what background knowledge do they have. So I need to know where to start. So there's no point in me starting really advanced if they know nothing, or if I start too low and they already know all that. So I need to know that pre-thinking skills. So where to start. And what was the second part?
Like pre-assessing them
Mm-hmm.
to know where you can when the help needs to come.
Right.
Right. So, can you share one or two specific examples of activities you do to promote critical thinking or creativity?
Sure. We did last semester at Halloween. I presented Halloween to see how much they knew, and then based on that, the students had to make their own story creatively about Halloween. And then they had to make a PowerPoint with their story, with pictures, and then they had to present their story.
Oh, well, that's a very creative way to put them to work.
Yeah. So the other students were able to critique, and so we got the speaking, reading, listening, and writing all in one activity.
Yeah, I remember when I did a presentation in my ESOL class. It was about making an invention about something that can help the environment or the people themselves. Yeah, and I was really nervous because
Yes.
Some people are really nervous to stand up and speak.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, they had, the same group had to do a presentation today in American Lit, the same type format. And so I looked down and I said, see why we did that last semester?
Yeah.
So,
So, would you describe your classroom management style?
my management is kind of old style. And then, which, you know, it's like the teacher comes in, they're in charge. But I'm also flexible because the way I like to manage is, okay, we've got to do, explain what we have to do. This is what we've got to do. Let's do it. But then once we're done with everything, then I like to be more creative with, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to learn? Instead of me just pushing stuff out, I need to know what do they want to learn so that we can work together on that.
Yeah, that's nice to know what they want to learn, so you can give them that word to them,
Mm-hmm.
and they can learn it better.
Mm-hmm.
So, what tips do you have for me about classroom management?
Know your students, where they come from, their background, as much as you can. I know it's limited, it's hard. Get to know your students. You can't, the best information I got when I started, I actually taught at the technical school first. The best information I got was you can start hard and then get softer, but don't ever start soft and then try to get more strict. Because at the beginning of your teaching, they're gonna see how far they can push you, what they can get away with, just because that's human nature. If you get away with too much, they're just gonna keep trying to get away with more, as far as not doing work or getting you off track. So the best thing is they'll think you're really mean and you're not. And then they'll see, but they'll get them to respect you, and you respect them, and everything will work out.
Yeah, that's you pointed out a good point. If you want them to respect you, then you should respect them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so, to what extent do you believe it is the teacher's job to motivate students to learn, and how does this relate to the students developing their own sense of agency?
First of all, if teacher's not interested in it, the students are not going to be interested in it. That's just point blank. So to motivate them, I have to motivate myself. So I have to come up with lesson plans that are interesting to me and are not boring, so that they're motivated, they'll be interested in it. So the more I'm interested in it, I come across more so that they have a desire to learn. What is she so excited about? So that motivates them, because that curiosity is developed and they want to know what's going on. Why is that so fun, or why does she want to know about that?
Why are you so excited about the Pythagorean theorem? Right?
I don't know. I'm not so much into theories, as because each group is different.
Mm-hmm.
And I can have one group first block and then another group the second block, and they're totally different. So you have to just know your students, the group culture dynamics that come in with it, to know how to teach them. One group I can say, let's have games, they're fine, and the next group is like looking at me like, no way. It just depends.
Okay, so just keep your students interested in the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how do you assess your students' learning?
We do it twofold. We do have the traditional taking a test. You know, this is what we're learning about, so now you need to take this test, apply it, tell me. But then there's also, like we did with the PowerPoint presentation, we need to be less focused on memorization and more so on actively being able to use the information you're learning to demonstrate. And I think they'll hold on to that more and longer through life than just a memorization.
Okay. So do you differentiate instructions?
Yes.
If so, how?
We do differentiate because we have different levels of English speakers in my classroom. So we may have someone that's advanced as you are, or we may have somebody that's straight from another country and speaks no English. Or they could have been in the United States, but their family just spoke another language. So in here I do differentiate, and the way we do, so for some, I make them do a test, and instead of getting 4 answers, narrow it down to 3. And I simplify the language. Some I will go ahead, I will ease them into the English, so they're in their own language, they're testing, and then they go move into English. And we do group, I pair students together so that they can work together and work through problems instead of just a student just sitting there and they're totally lost. If I pair them with another student, they can help each other understand what's going on.
So, what inspires you to become a teacher, and how did you start this career?
I've always wanted to be a teacher, and I don't know why, but even little, I can remember loving to sit with the teacher and grading the papers and doing that. So I've just always had a desire to help others. And when you see that light bulb moment when they understand what they're doing, that's what makes it all worthwhile. So I taught at the technical school for a few years, and I loved it, but that just came to an end. And so an opportunity just came up out of the blue for an ESOL teacher. There's a teacher shortage, so I took the opportunity, and I love it. Yeah.
That's good. So how do you keep your students engaged and motivated?
That's a challenge at times. The cell phone has become such a hindrance in the classroom. So sometimes we'll just have to play a game with the phone to get them engaged. I have a cell phone hotel, so sometimes we just let the hotels have a vacation and rest up. And we'll do introduction games, discuss what they've done, over the weekend or over the holidays, and try to get them motivated talking about themselves, and then slowly go into an activity. But I try to build it up. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to learn, and go from there.
Okay.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not.
Yeah, do you do the Kahoot games?
I tried the Kahoot games, but I don't find them very effective, because what I saw, they were not reading the questions and answers. They were just competing with each other.
They were just clicking on.
They were just clicking, yeah. So I didn't find it to be that effective.
Okay, so Kahoot, you think it's not very effective?
It can be for some students, but when you've got a competitive group or a group that's not wanting to learn, no, they're clicking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question, and because some people, they do like to compete, and others like to learn, and you don't even know what they're doing.
Right. So I didn't really get a good feedback of what do you really know, because they were just like, oh, click. So
I think Kahoot is just mainly to review questions and material, but like before a test, that's a good way to use Kahoot. Or another way to review a lesson is note cards.
Yeah, we've used note cards. I had them fill out all kind of note cards and do the matching, and that seemed to be. It is old school, but the note cards seemed to work more because they were doing, I believe, in writing.
Yeah,
from hand to brain, it sticks.
Especially because note cards, I think it's less distracting because you're not using any digital technology.
Right. Technology is good, but I think it's abused and overused in the school. Yeah. Sometimes just the traditional writing, like you say, is better. You don't have the distraction.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give to someone or me considering this career in teaching?
Study hard while you're in school. Get all the education you can get, and make all the mentors and friends you can get. But go for it. It's a great career. It gets trying at times. Some days when they don't want to do, the students don't want to do. You have those days. But when you see that student, like I said earlier, when they understand finally what's going on, and you see that expression on their face, that's worth the whole thing. Just to see a student, and then when you see them graduate, you know you've done something. That student's gonna do something.
Yeah, teachers do make impact on students' life.
Exactly. That's a better phrase than what I did, but yes. You know you've done something. So it's not just for that one student. They'll have a family, and they, you know, eventually they'll have their own family. And what you've taught them, they will share.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, that's all the questions I had for you.
Okay.
I wanted to thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me. I really appreciate that you took some time to do this for me.
Anytime. Thank you so much. I'm looking at ESOL.
Okay. Thank you.
ESOL will help you.